What's up guys? In today's sponsor video, I'm absolutely honoured to be a part of Bogren Digital's latest plugin release. Now you may have heard of the Trivium Rhythm amp knob or the Trivium Lead amp knob, or maybe even the Trivium Bass knob. Well, they now have a new addition to that family, Trivium Drums. Now, Jens has worked in collaboration with each member of Trivium to bring you these plugins, so they sound amazing. But don't just take my word for it, let's hear these plugins in the context of a mix. So I think it's fairly safe to say that you do not have to want to sound like Trivium to use this bundle. They're just a bunch of plugins that sound very, very nice and go very well together. But obviously, if you do want to sound like Trivium, you've come to the right place. Now, there was a lot more going on in that song than I had originally intended. It was one of those moments where you accidentally hit the wrong note in MIDI and chaos ensues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute all that stuff and I'm going to play you the song with just the Trivium bundle plugins. So that is all the Trivium bundle plugins. So you've got the drums, you've got the bass amp sound, not the DI, and then you've got the rhythm and the lead plugins. So let's take a closer look at each plugin. Now, because Trivium Drums is new, we will be focusing a lot on those. So when you open up Trivium Drums, you'll be on the kit view like this. Down here, you can switch between the processed or natural samples. So natural being the drums as they were recorded on the way in without any post-processing done to them, just so you can do your own processing. And then we have the processed samples that Jens has processed himself, and they are a mix-ready version that you don't have to do anything to. I'll play you the natural and then processed, and I think you'll find that there's not a dramatic difference between the two. They're just very well recorded samples to begin with. Now you get a fair bit with this kit. You basically get two of everything, well, everything except for the snare. So you got 2 kicks, 2 hi-hats, 2 rides, 2 chinas, 2 splashes, and 5 toms. And then just your normal left and right crashes. So if that's not enough for you, you're a very hard man to please. Now, up here to the right, we have got a button for the anti-machine gunning. I have a bit of trouble with that sometimes, so I'm very happy for that to be there. So let's hear that. And then there's auto double kick for when you play faster passages. Now, next to that, we have the settings where you can change your mappings and velocities. Another thing that I like that they've done is they are not pretending that other drum libraries do not exist. They have included mappings for other drum libraries as well. So good job there, because there's plenty of other drum libraries that don't include mappings of other brands, and it just makes it that little bit more difficult to switch between drum libraries. So I love that they've done that. Next to that, we have this little button here, which I believe is something for choking on E-kits, I think. Now that also reminds me of one of my favorite features, which is the choke. You can basically set it manually to whatever time you want. So with other VSTs, it's kind of got a predetermined, pre-recorded length of a choke, whereas this, you can manually set it. So if you want your cymbal to ring for like a dotted eighth note and then choke, or to ring out for like 2 beats and then choke, you can do that. So I'll give you an example of that. I think that's just awesome. That's one of the only problems I've had with MIDI drums, is that you cannot set the choke manually, and now I can do that with this kit, so I'm pretty stoked about that feature. Small things amuse small minds, guys. Up here you have 3 different sections. Like I said, we're currently on the kit view. If you go here into the mixer, this is the settings that I use for the song at the start that you heard, and this is where the fun begins. We can have a bit of a play around with the levels on each of the kit pieces, as well as you've got the control of the bleed in the overheads and the rooms. They also have reverb on each kit piece as well. I didn't get to use it for my song because I done the multi-out routing, and I think that kind of cancels out the master fader, and I think that's what has the reverb and the parallel compression on it. So I didn't get to use that, but I think you'll find with the 7-meter high room that they use to record these drums in, you get ample amount of ambience from the overheads and the rooms. So I'll play you the kits with the reverb on as well. And then here we've also just got the groove section where you can access and play all your MIDI grooves and then just drag and drop them into your project. All right, so I'll take you through my drum processing, and I use the natural samples so I could do my own processing. I think you'll find I've done sweet bugger all. So here we've got the kick in. All I'm doing here is boosting. It says 122. I think it's a little bit lower than it actually says on this plugin. So I'm boosting some of that, and at 2.5 dB. So it's kind of a fair bit for this plugin. I really like a big fat sounding kick, and it's probably a little bit too much low end, but it's my song to ruin. Then we've got the kick sub. I've done no processing on that. Now if we go to the kick group, we've just got some saturation. This is Cubase's stock saturation plugin. It's like, I guess, a poor man's version of Satin. And we've got the mix at 50% and just a little bit, nothing really going on there because the kick was clicky enough. And then we've got a little bit of this, what do we got, in between 3.6 and 500 hertz. So just a little bit of saturation going on there. I felt like it was nice and saturated enough going through all that nice analog gear. Then we've got a stock Cubase compressor doing like 5 or 6 dB of gain reduction. And then we've got an EQ here. Basically, I am a wimp and none of my music is brutal enough to have such a clicky kick. So I've just taken out some of the click in the EQ here. And then that kick is just going to some parallel compression. The snare top individual mic literally has no processing done to it. The bottom snare mic just has a little bit taken out of the mids there. Whether that's even audible, who knows. And then the snare group, again, very minimal on it. All I've got is this tube compressor. And I did originally have a envelope shaper and another compressor on it because I originally wanted to get rid of the ringiness in the snare. I know Jens has said that he loves a ringy snare, but I generally just want it to, pop and then piss off, basically. So I did have an envelope shaper on there, or a transient design, or whatever you want to call it, to get rid of some of that ring. But then I was playing around with this compressor and I found that it done what I wanted it to do. And you still get the ring of the snare, but it's not very loud in the mix. So the snare kind of still sounded nice and open and airy and not too ringy, even though there is a ton of ring on the snare, which I'll play for you now. Now the toms, I didn't process the first 2 toms because I don't think I even used them, and toms are probably my weakness when it comes to mixing, so I probably just should have used the processed samples for these. But for these, I just took out some of the mids. They definitely have enough highs in them, and I've just taken out some of the lows just so there's no muddiness in the low end. And then I've just got an 1176 here for some compression. And it's basically the same on each tom, just the mids are in a different spot, I think. I might have had a bit too much clickiness going on up there. Yeah, so pretty much the same on each tom. Nothing special going on. And then for the group, I generally always put a limiter on and just another high pass filter. And they are also going through to the parallel compression. Then the hi-hats, I think here I was just boosting some highs and taking out some offending frequencies with some notches there. So not really much done to those either. I don't think I used the extra hi-hats, so I don't actually know why I EQ'd them. I literally done nothing to the rides. I think I only used them like once or twice, and I didn't really think that they sounded too offensive or anything, so I just left them. Then the overheads, taking out just 2 little notches of some offending frequencies. And then the group overheads, I've just got some compression. So barely anything going on the overheads. And then the rooms, I'm just notching out some offending frequencies. And then in the room group, I've just got the vintage compressor again and just a little bit of EQ. And that is also going to the parallel compressor. I sometimes hate the sound of rooms going through the parallel compressor, but in this instance, I liked it. Then for the parallel compression, I'm just using an 1176 for that. And for the drum group, I've got the tiniest bit of saturation going on with this black box. Bit of glue with some bus compression. I always pin it to the quickest release and the slowest attack, and it's generally always on the 2-to-1 ratio. And I generally like the needle to be sitting in between the 0 and the 4. I don't really like it to do much more than that. And I don't know what this is. Oh, just boosting some mids, which is kind of weird. But I guess I liked the sound of it. So there we go. That is the drum processing. That is honestly bugger all compared to what I would normally do on dry samples. That's just insane. Like I said, some really well recorded drum samples. Let's take a closer look at the Trivium Rhythm Amp Knob. Now, if you're not familiar with the Bogren Digital Amp Knob plugins, these are made to be simple and sound amazing just as soon as you open up the plugin. So you'll notice you only get one knob, which is the gain. You don't have to sit there and try and figure out what the perfect amp and cab combination is, and you don't have to play with any of the bass, middle, treble settings. It just sounds amazing opening it up. The Trivium Rhythm amp knob features 3 different boost types. So when you open it up, it'll be on the red, which is the highest gain. Then there is the orange, which goes from a fairly low gain to a fairly decent amount of gain, just with a bit of a different flavor than the red channel. And then you've got the green boost, which goes from clean, which is a really beautiful, nice sounding clean, to that break up, slightly distorted sound, which is really cool because I've actually kind of used that for leads as well. It kind of gets that nice low gain lead sound that you want as well when you kind of like dig in, and it's got that little bit of crunch to it. Now this plugin comes with 2 different cabs. You've got your modern cab, which is exactly as it sounds. It's got that nice open airy sound to it, and it is also nice and spicy. And then you've got the vintage cab, which is more reserved and mid-focused. Now you can also load your own IRs into this. Now when you load your own IRs into this, it has got the IRDX technology, which will make it sound different. The point of the IRDX technology is that it is supposed to make your IRs sound more realistic. So there's something in the way that a cab pushes air around and the way it distorts the sound and stuff. There's a whole video on it. I'll link it below. The IRDX is supposed to make it behave like it would if it was in real life. So it will make your IRs sound different, but it's supposed to be better. So let's have a little listen to the difference. Now, the green channel is also the only one that has the reverb on it, which you can access through these little gears here. And then you also got your gate settings in here as well. Now, each boost setting is actually its own amp and signal chain. So you're getting 3 different channels that are specially tailored by Jens himself that are made to work so nicely together. Now, for my song, I just had this on the red channel, and for certain parts, I've just automated the gain down so it's not so hectic and a bit more dialed back. All right, now I'll take you through the processing that I'd done to my rhythm guitars for this song. Now, it looks like I've done a fair bit, but it's really not that much at all. So here I've got EQ hitting the DI, and the reason I done this was because, please don't hate me, but I didn't mean it, but I used dead strings to record this song. Luckily, the plugin handled it very, very well, but I thought I had a spare set of strings laying around, and I didn't. So I have just kind of EQ'd some of that gargly sound that you get in your guitar when the strings are a bit dead, and I've boosted some of the highs. Now I've got an EQ after the plugin, and that's literally just a high pass. I'm not doing anything there to change the sound. And here we've got 1.8 dB reduction of 900 hertz, which, oh look, can we even hear that? I don't know. And then all we've got here is a multi-band compressor, and we're just taming some of those palm mutes. So I really didn't do much at all to those. Like if I didn't have dead strings, you wouldn't even need that. And you've literally just got a high pass filter and a bit of multi-band compression going on. It's barely anything has been done to those to make them sound good. They just sound amazing already. Okay, so time for the leads. So for the Trivium amp knob leads, it's the same concept. You've just got the one gain knob. You can't get it wrong. And then you've got just a delay effect and a doubler effect named Corey. So if you open this tab here, you can play around with the settings a bit more, but these are already set on a very digestible level. And you've got the option of your ping pong delay. So going left and right. Now you only get one cab with this, or again, you can just load your own. And you've also got your gate in the settings there, as well as a tuner. Now for the processing, I literally only have a high pass filter. I didn't do anything to change the sound of what it already is. The only other thing I have on there is a pitch shifter because my guitar was tuned down half a step. So I've just brought it up to the tuning that the song was written in. And that is literally it for the leads. Nothing crazy going on at all. Okay, so for the bass knob Trivium, we have got the same concept again, just the one gain knob. And for my song, I've absolutely cranked it. It's on maximum gain and I've got the drive engaged. If you do want a cleaner bass sound, you can bring it down to like about 3 and disengage the drive. And that'll be a nice, open, clean bass sound. Now you do only get the one cab in this as well, or you can load your own. You got your tuner down here and you've got a gate here in the settings as well. So that one's pretty straightforward, very easy to get a great sound. I had it cranked for my song and it just sounds awesome. Then I've got a multi-band compressor here and I'm just boosting the lows because again, I like to have a unrealistic, stupid amount of lows. But it is getting squashed a fair bit as well. And then I've got another multi-band compressor, but this time it is a side chain. So every time the kick hits, it squashes the bass a bit. So you can get more of that thud from the kick without it bringing in too much muddy low end in the mix. So that is all the processing that I've done for this song. Now I just want to take you through some features that you get that are only in the standalone version. All right, so if you open up the standalone version, my favorite feature here is the record button. So it does exactly what you think. It records your output. So if you're jamming along and you come up with a riff, you don't have to waste your time trying to open your door to record it and forget what you were trying to play by the time it opens. You can just hit this record button and it will record what you're playing, and then you just need to hit record again to stop it. And if you click this folder here, that's where you'll find all the things that you've recorded. So that is such a great feature. I think that should be in every single standalone guitar plugin. And then next to it, you have got a metronome. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really do any guitar practice anymore without using a metronome. So again, this is a very handy feature to have. So you've got accents here. You can switch the accent to whatever you want. If you want it just being on the 1 and the 3 or the 2 and the 4, you can do that. You can also change your subdivision so it can play on quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes or triplets. You can also have it so the click speeds up every X amount of bars. If you want, you can put in here that you want it to go up 1 BPM every 4 bars, and that will gradually increase the speed for you. Super handy feature. I love that it has that. You also can change the sound of your click by clicking here. You've got 3 different ones, and then here is just your volume, so you can set that to whatever you want. So that is the Trivium bundle. If you are like me and you want to do the absolute bare minimum to get the best sound possible, definitely go check out that bundle. As you saw, I done barely anything to make it sound amazing. And I just want to say a massive thank you to the team over at Bogren Digital for having me along for this release. I had an amazing time getting inspired by these plugins and writing that song that you heard in the intro. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.